Hi, my name is Carolyn Marshall. I'm taking a speech class at Patrick Henry Community College, and I'm here today to do a commemorative speech on somebody. Okay? Have you ever encountered someone you thought you knew from somewhere? Maybe you met that person a long time ago and couldn't place them. I met this person one fall evening. I had no idea at the time how special this person would be. He was very kind-hearted and compassionate towards others. It was a chance encounter, and I came to appreciate the opportunity to have known him. I was visiting with a friend who needed a ride home from work, and in walks this gentleman. His manner was very polite, yet confident when he spoke. He was quick to introduce himself. We apparently had a mutual friend, and surprisingly, we had a really good conversation. My friend asked me if I would take this friend home. At that time, I didn't realize that he really didn't need a ride home because he lived right next door. His name was Charles E. Armbruster, and he was 24 when I met him. He thought we were having a good conversation and wanted to continue the conversation. So we drove around for quite a while before we actually returned to where we had originally started from. Many days and weeks went by. As I got to know this gentleman, I came to learn a lot about him. He was a carpenter by trade, enjoyed hunting, fishing, and generally anything that had to do with the outdoors. He spent a lot of his days as a child fishing and hunting whenever he could. He had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. His mother had 3 children by a previous marriage, and he was the second born from her marriage to his father. His father died when he was 7 years old. I could only imagine how devastating this would be for a young child. He was very close to his dad when his dad died. He had a lot of difficulty in school, and after that, from what I was told, he didn't want to do anything but fish and hike through the woods and hunt. As he grew up, he had a lot of difficulties with his mother. He began to drink at times, and sometimes a lot. He got into trouble sometimes. One time he got into a little bit of a minor trouble, and his mother convinced him that he should do the right thing and go report what he had done and own up to his mistakes. He was given a community service project at a state park. He actually became one of the best workers that they had ever had at the state park, and they wished that they could offer him a job at the time, but the state funding didn't allow that. His mother and principal and teachers tried to encourage him not to leave school, but with the world on his shoulders, there was no convincing him to stay. He later got a job as a carpenter's assistant and was trained to become a carpenter himself. He worked for a contractor for many years and eventually moved on to work for a builder. He soon became the lead carpenter on the jobs and eventually went out on his own to be a contractor himself. He could do practically every aspect of the building trade except for the electrical and plumbing. He was a family man and would help whenever he was needed. He was very close with his grandmother, and anything that her and his grandfather needed, he was sure to fix. He would go there almost every Sunday and have dinner so that he had a good excuse to do some work around the house for them because they didn't like to ask. In his spare time from work, he would do community projects for Habitat for Humanity. And that is a project where you help to build homes for low-income families who couldn't afford otherwise. If his neighbors needed help with repairs, he was always more than glad to help out, and expecting nothing in return. A simple thank you was all that was needed. He didn't have a lot of money himself, but whatever he could do to help someone else, he was sure to be right there. He later married and fathered 3 children. He thought the world of his family, enjoyed every moment he had with them, always there to lend a hand to help whenever possible, even at times when some of the people he helped weren't always kind to him. He would say, "You can't control the world, but you can control your part in the world." He passed away at a young age and left behind these 3 small children with the same look on life. He left a wonderful footprint behind for all of us to learn from. Even though you may go through some pretty tough stuff in your life, you can overcome them and be responsible for the footprint that you leave behind. His children have grown into very wonderful adults with a very similar attitude in life. I have learned a lot and was grateful to have known him for the time that I did. He didn't have a lot, but what he gave to each person helped to measure much more than all the riches in the world.